Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, what have you been up to recently here? Anything?
Well, we had I went to a very controversial convention last weekend. Not that it was controversial in itself, but some of the stuff that happened. Actually, in my hometown of GalaxyCon, Columbus. Columbus. The convention was called GalaxyCon. But there was some crazy stuff that was going down. The security was not on the same page as the convention, and there were a lot of people that had a lot of things that should not have been zip tied, and there was just chaos. Crowding was insane. Their badges were delayed, so they literally gave us laminated pieces of papers for the badges. And then when we got the real badges, they were honestly worse. They were like a piece of cardboard. I know, it was pretty crazy. They apparently handmade all of the badges because the badges did not come in on time.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. Wow.
Because we actually went, so they had it kind of cool where you could go pick up your badges at multiple places around the city.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one near us, a comic book shop, so we went there to pick ours up. And that was literally the first thing I said. I was like, these badges are rough. Last year, they were so much nicer and nicer quality of a badge. And a lot of people were complaining in the Facebook group, which they acknowledged, hey, they got delayed, and you can actually pick up a real one when they finally get delivered on Friday at the thing. But someone did do that, and they were just as bad, if not worse. So I was like, what? There was a lot. Crowding was insane. I know Matthew Lillard's line was crazy. I had some of my clients tell me that they waited 7 hours in line. Or they had VIP, they would go to the line and then get turned around. Even though, VIP should be able to get in the line, their VIP line or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And they had him doing so many photo ops, he would take, he would talk to maybe one or two people, and then he would be ushered out to go do a photo op, and then they'd come back, get through maybe another two people, be ushered out again for another photo op.
That's terrible.
It was wild. There was a lot going on.
Huh. Interesting.
That was not even all of it either. That was just things I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was all over Instagram and stuff about how bad it was, and zip tying people's stuff that they needed.
Mobility aids.
Yeah,
their canes.
Canes. I saw that. Yeah, it was insane. And
they actually zip tied my camera.
That to me is crazy. I don't understand why they're zip tying your camera.
I know it's not as crazy as the mobility aid, but it was still bizarre. I've never had that happen in a convention.
I was gonna say, it's not like your camera is a weapon or anything that can be used.
I know, they were the lady was just in case you have an issue, and I was like, what? Huh? I just went along with it because I was like, I'm not arguing. I just want to go get in the convention area.
Right, that's insane. Please tell me you had something on you to cut it.
All the checkpoints were different too.
Yeah, that's what I heard. There was one that was really bad where they were checking all the bags, and there were other ones where they weren't even checking anything. They were just letting people in through.
Because it's every time I went through, it would be different protocol.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
There was a point where I was like, I don't even want to go to the convention area.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just such a hassle with my camera bag and stuff.
Yeah.
I always get flagged. It was just something rough. But I did film another CMV there, and that just went live an hour ago on my YouTube channel, if you want to check out some of the cosplayers I worked with. But my YouTube channel is at Caramel Photography, Karamel Photography. So you can check that out there. What about you, Mom? Did you do anything fun this weekend?
Let's see. We had a craft show that I had to do at one of the grade schools around here. I did okay. It wasn't as crowded as it was last year. And then Dad and I had his Christmas party. We had to go to some swanky club that they rent out every year. It was nice. They actually, one of the DJs from the local channel that I listen to all the time, Q102, was there, and he was our DJ, so that was pretty cool. I got to meet him, Freddie Mac from Q102, so that was cool. But yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, we had a nice time. Food was okay. The food was weird. It was kind of good, but some of it was spicy, so I couldn't eat it. They had it was this weird mishmash. They had tacos, and then they had prime rib and mashed potatoes.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really weird. and you went through and you got like your mashed potatoes first, and then you got like your tacos, but the taco meat wasn't near where the taco toppings and all that were. It was like on the other side by where the prime rib was. It was very weird and strange. But it was, I mean, like I said, the food was okay. But we had a nice time. The desserts were good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
At least you had a nice time and whatnot.
Yeah. So Dad got to hang out with some of his friend buddies from work and that. So we had that. Oh, and then Sam had strep throat, so we got to deal with that. That was not fun.
I know, because you're sick as well.
Yeah,
now.
I know, and I got sick.
And I'm also sick, unrelated, probably from the con though.
Yeah.
So if we sound rough, that's why.
Yeah, if we sound bad, it's because of that. And Sam, I could strangle him. He didn't know he was sick. Well, he used mine and Dad's toothbrush to brush his teeth. And then we found out a couple days later he had strep. So I probably got strep from him because he used my toothbrush. I'm like, son,
so crazy.
Please stay off my toothbrush. It's so gross. So we had to burn all the toothbrushes in the house this weekend and did a bunch of laundry. That was not fun. But yeah, that's all that's been happening around here. And then I have another craft show this coming weekend on Saturday.
Nice. I have another convention next weekend.
Girl, you are crazy. Well, hopefully you're better before you get to that convention.
I mean, I think so.
All right. So I've got a story here that I found. It kind of relates to Christmas a smidge. But anyway, like some of the hauntings. The hauntings happen at Christmas, and I talk a little bit about how we got some of our holiday traditions that we have. So I'll go ahead and get started. So before Christmas was the holiday that we know it is today, the pagans had a festival that they called the Yuletide, with traditions very similar to the ones that we still use and partake in today. So the pagans used symbols like mistletoe that we use, and holly, berries, and wreaths to celebrate the Yule, which is their name for the winter solstice, and they celebrate it on December 25th, which is when we celebrate Christmas. So for the pagans, Yuletide symbolized the death of light and was considered the most haunted night of the year, when the veil between the living and the dead, for them, is considered the thinnest. So they could talk to, people that have in their families that had passed on before, kind of similar to the Day of the Dead that they celebrate down in Mexico and that. But anyway, during Victorian times, though, people like to tell ghost stories. And they also like to send dark, humorous cards to each other as well. And that also became part of the Yule celebration that they would celebrate back then. And we've kind of taken on some of that, where we do send out Christmas cards. That's how we got to sending out Christmas cards. It started actually in Victorian times. But I came across this ghost story on Reddit that actually happened in 1971, and this is kind of interesting. So there was this guy, and him and his mother were really close. And his mom passed away in 1964 when he was 17 years old. After she had passed away, he left home that year and he moved to Ontario, Canada, from Nova Scotia. In 1969, though, he met this girl named Karen, and they got married in 1970. So in December of 1971, they were expecting their first child. And they had moved into like this small kind of bungalow type home. And there was a fireplace that they had in their living room. And they loved this fireplace, and they lit it almost every night of the year. So it was Christmas of 1971, and they had finished putting presents under the tree. And they were like sitting there, staring at the tree, and the tree all lit up and stuff. And they had these strand of lights on the tree that had stopped working, apparently like a couple weeks ago. And it had happened to be 5 minutes to midnight when all of a sudden the fireplace went out, and the string of lights started flashing that had not been working for a while now. And then all the other lights on the tree went out. So they were both sitting on the floor in the room, and all of a sudden they said it got freezing cold. And he looked over, they had a lazy boy chair in their living room, and he looked over at the lazy boy chair, and he saw a figure sitting in the chair. And when he looked closer at it, he realized it was his mother. And she had like a huge smile on her face, and she kept staring at him and his wife. And she just like kept sitting there staring for like 5 minutes at them. Now, his wife had never met his mother because obviously the mom had passed away before him and his wife got together. Also mentioned that she saw her, and she described her in the same way, with a big smile on her face, sitting in the lazy boy chair looking at them. So at midnight, the fire in the fireplace started back up again, and the broken lights that had not worked in a very long time stopped working again. And then all the lights on the tree came on again. So he said that when they looked back in the chair, she was gone at that time. And no matter what he did, after that, the strand of lights that never worked, they never worked again.
Huh.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
That's really weird.
Yeah. And I guess they're, that's to let you know that, the veil is very thin, yeah, during Christmas time. And, sometimes if you can
Well, I mean, when you think about winter's like the dead season.
Exactly.
It's very symbolic of death and things ending.
Yep. So that was interesting that she came to visit. And then I have another story about the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. This hotel is actually considered to be one of the most haunted hotels in the world. It's said to be haunted by several spirits. The hotel opened in 1886 as a resort destination welcoming travelers who believed in the healing powers of nearby springs that were located on the property. Over time, the building shifted, and at one point it became a girls' conservatory, and it was this for a number of years. Then a gentleman by the name of Norman Baker took over the home in the 1930s. Now, Baker was a former radio host with no medical training whatsoever, and he claimed that he had a cure for cancer. In fact, he was like one of the first people to ever say that they had this cure for cancer, okay? And he opened up a cancer hospital out of the hotel. So patients would come from across the country for treatments by him, and these treatments were unproven and they were very dangerous. In fact, he ended up getting shut down, I don't know how many years later, by, association that's in charge of all the medical people because of his practices and the cruel way he was treating his patients. Many people died under his care during this time, and the hauntings that are reported today are tied to his time when he owned it and when he had it as a cancer place. There's like also a morgue that sits in the basement of here, and they do like ghost tours down there, and you can apparently there's like ghosts that will show up down there apparently that are mad about, their death and stuff and about the way he treated them. They say that around Christmas time, a lot of the ghosts are said to get active. They've been known to move around the Christmas tree in the lobby of the hotel. Like, they'll move it from one side to the other, apparently, if they don't like where they had set it up at. They're also said that they have, like, a huge, Christmas dinner, close to Christmas time. And the ghost will mess with the table decorations and stuff on the tables. And one year they messed with they took all the menus off the table and threw them on the floor. I guess they weren't happy with whatever they were trying to do. Yeah. So people see there's a lot of activity that apparently goes on at this hotel, and a lot of it is related to Christmas. But there was also another gentleman that worked there, and he happened to be like a masonry guy, I guess. And he died while he was working on it, and it happened in room 218, and his name is Michael, and he was like a stone man, and he fell to his death during the construction of the hotel, and they say that he haunts room 218, so a lot of people will ask for that room just to see if they can talk to Michael and see if he messes with them or whatever. But yeah, it's considered one of the most haunted hotels. It's really cool looking, though. I mean, you can tell it's been around, forever. It's a very ornate old hotel.
I like the old hotel vibes. I hate the modern.
Yeah.
They're kind of meh.
Yeah, I like the old ones with all the ornate like woodworking and that. Kind of like the Stanley.
Yeah, the Stanley's so pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Now this hotel went into like disrepair for quite a few years, and then a couple bought it. I want to say like in the 1980s, and they basically it took them like 20 years, but they totally redid the whole inside of it. And one of the floors apparently got burnt. So they had to like redo that floor. And then there was like a conservatory on the property at some point that had gotten ruined or whatever. And they ended up building like a brand new glass conservatory. And a lot of people like to rent that out for weddings and stuff. Apparently it's very pretty. But it's a really neat hotel. Pretty. You should check it out sometime. Actually, we need to go visit there. It's supposed to be really neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have on stories for this week.
All right. Well, before I get into my little bit, I have some interesting news about the freaking Conjuring house. Remember how we were just talking about who bought it?
Yeah, we were talking about who bought it, yeah.
Well, guess who just filed a lawsuit against them?
Oh, not the sister. Wait, the sister of who?
The homeowner's sister filed a lawsuit against the ghost hunters guy, Jason, alleging that the sister, Jacqueline Nunez, which is the one who sold,
who sold
the house,
right,
wasn't mentally competent when she handed over the rights to sell the house.
Oh, interesting.
So now there's a lawsuit, so who knows if the Conjuring house is ever going to get bought at this point.
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy. Huh.
So, like, after we just were like, oh, it got bought.
Right.
Denied. Yeah. You know, everyone's got to get their hand in the purse. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yep. I guess we'll never know. It's going to sit unoccupied for a while until they figure it out.
Until the lawsuit goes through. Because you know that stuff takes so
forever,
long to get.
Hopefully it settles out of court.
Hopefully. And some other interesting paranormal news. They actually confirmed there's another Paranormal Activity movie in the works. So, I know we were talking about it the other day because of the play that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
And apparently, the original Paranormal Activity movie only had a budget of $15,000. That's it.
No, I could understand that. It was kind of rough
because it was very it was just like a house, but the movie itself made over $890 million globally.
That's insane. They made so much
money for a $15,000 budget. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is insane. Huh.
But all right, now after that, have you ever wondered why Christmas time is a popular time to tell ghost stories? Stories like A Christmas Carol come to mind to me. You know what I mean by the Christmas Carol, right?
Yeah, where the ghosts come and visit Jacob Marley. Yes.
And then, Yeah. Well, there's actually a reason for why Christmas time is so popular for ghost stories.
And why is that?
Back before we had electricity, during the long winter nights, most people would have to stop working pretty early, because no electricity.
Right.
And they would all gather around the fire, which was the perfect place to share ghost stories and other things like that. And you didn't have to be able to read to pass along the stories to other people, so they would spread pretty far and wide. Well, during the Industrial Revolution and the steam-powered printing press, it basically made it so that written word was more widely available. So this gave the Victorians the opportunity to commercialize and commodify existing oral ghost stories, and they end up turning them into a version that they could sell to the general population. So as people moved into the larger cities, they craved the ghost stories from growing up around the Christmas season. So a lot of people would buy these books, and it was like a really high in demand thing. Victorian authors like Elizabeth Gaskell, Margaret Oliphant, and Arthur Conan Doyle would basically lock in during the fall to prepare these stories and have them ready to print in time for Christmas. So capitalism. Just kidding, but obviously there is a money money reason why, of course, as everything we know nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was a lot of fears during the Industrial Revolution. Because people were scared about the rise of industrialization and science, and this led to people being more inclined to search out these stories. I know I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So, although countless trends made their way from England to America during the Victorian era, the telling of ghost stories during the Christmas season was not one that really caught on. Because I don't feel like it's not as popular. I mean, now it is, I think, with Krampus and whatnot.
Yeah, it's pretty popular now, yeah.
But not as I would say when they first, migrated.
No, that's for sure.
But one of the reasons why telling spooky ghost stories during Christmas didn't take off in the United States originally was because it became more firmly established as a Halloween tradition, thanks to our Irish and Scottish immigrants. Which I guess that makes sense, because I feel like instead of being more like Christmas time, I feel like a lot of our ghosty stuff is more concentrated during Halloween season.
Yeah.
And if you remember, it's the most wonderful time of the year lists scary ghost stories as one of the highlights of the holiday season.
Oh, that's
but people suspect that was because of how popular the A Christmas Carol was.
Oh, okay.
Like, that was, like, one of the only ones that really translated, or, like, got really popular in the U.S. Compared to some of the other ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you know any of that? I did not realize that.
No, but I just read an article or a story that, actually, you're talking about the Christmas Carol, that originally it was written as a short story in, like, a magazine. And it got such well reviews that they actually decided to turn it into a book then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that he was also in that like Industrial Revolution.
Charles Dickens, yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of interesting how a lot of the ghost stories really focus on bringing you into this upper lifestyle, like manors and mansions, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But that is what I have for us today. I thought it was kind of... Because I thought about it, I was like, why are ghost stories kind of a thing during Christmas? Because normally it's like a Halloween thing as well. Or like more specialized in Halloween.
Well, you know, and I was reading, because I was going to do something about Ireland. Actually, in Ireland, that's what their one of their things is, to tell spooky stories on Christmas Eve. That's like a big part of their traditions. They'll like gather around a fire and tell spooky stories, which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense. What else are you supposed to do around a fire?
Yeah, well, I know. Well, you could roast marshmallows, but you know.
I know, but like back in the day when you're in your home and
you could sing songs, I guess, you know, Kumbaya and all that good stuff.
People had to get creative back in the day.
Yes, they did.
Think of like how nice we have it now.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else for us today, or?
Yeah, no, I actually forgot to talk about... Okay, so I was on TikTok not too long ago, and I came across this crazy story, and then I just got down this whole thing. Apparently, there have been gargoyle sightings in Chicago. I don't know if anybody's heard of this. I sent a thing to Kara a couple weeks ago about it. But apparently there is a street in Chicago called Lower Wacker. Apparently, I guess there's like Wacker Street, and it's like the top floor, and that's, I guess, where all the trains in that run. You know how Chicago has like transit or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they call it like Lower Wacker, and then there's Lower Wacker, which is like 3 floors underneath the other Wacker streets that are there. And they say that this lower area is very creepy and scary. Like if you end up driving into Lower Wacker, you got to be careful because you can get very confused because it's so many different levels. And if you get on the lowest level, you can get lost very easily, and people do. And they say that, I guess, is what it is. It's this underground system that connects Navy Pier in Chicago, the side near the lake, like near Lake Michigan, I believe. Near Lake Michigan, that you can like walk under there and stuff, apparently. But people are saying that while they've been down there, like, you know, walking from work and stuff, they've seen these crazy gargoyle-like creatures down there, and they'll hear like growling and all kinds of crazy stuff. And people say that there's like a church, and then there's a home in Chicago that has a bunch of gargoyle statues on it, and people have seen those statues move and stuff. Like, it's like a whole thing. Yeah. It's like a whole thing. Like, all these people talk about it all the time. And apparently the sightings have become more numerous. And people were also saying that, I guess, down in this lower Wacker area, there's also supposedly vampires. Now, I don't know because I have not looked any of this information up yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. So I'm like, ooh, we're going to have to investigate this lower Wacker thing that everybody's carrying on about. Like, there's all kinds of paranormal stuff that apparently happens down in this area in Chicago. But yeah, if you're interested in any of this stuff about the gargoyles that people keep seeing in Chicago, it's all on TikTok. Just type in gargoyles in Lower Wacker in Chicago, and you'll get all kinds of stories about it. It's kind of crazy, actually.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I did not know there were gargoyles in Chicago.
I know, right? Isn't that weird to think that there could actually be like real gargoyles? Do you remember the old Disney show? I think you used to watch it when you were little.
I remember, the Disney show Gargoyles.
Yeah, where they would come they would come alive or whatever.
At night.
Yeah, that's still on the Disney Channel late at night. I've seen it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, which is funny. But yeah, so that's all I have, and we just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Or whatever holiday you
celebrate. Yep,
Yep,
whatever holiday it is you celebrate out there. We wish you a Merry, Happy, Festivus, Christmas, whatever it is. And yeah, thanks for listening to us this season. We will be back again next season. We're going to take a little bit of time off like we do every year just to regroup and enjoy the holidays with family and just, rest.
Yeah,
and,
for real.
Yeah, right. Relax a little, Kara, right? Instead of zipping all over the world, country, whatever. But yeah, so we just want to wish everybody, a Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you might celebrate. And we look forward to seeing everybody next year in 2026.
Yes. If you enjoyed the podcast today, please be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Two Scaredy Cats Podcast. And don't forget to leave a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It really helps the show get discovered. We are going on our winter break, but we will be back January 23rd. And to you all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.